The rain lashed against the windows of the Manhattan penthouse, a relentless percussion that mirrored the turmoil inside. Ethan Blackwood stood by the floor toe-sailing glass, his silhouette a stark contrast against the stormy skyline. His jaw was set, eyes narrowed as he listened to the voice on the other end of the call. "Mr. Blackwood, your brother, was in a car accident. He's in critical condition at St. Mary's Hospital." The words echoed in his mind, each syllable a dagger. Ethan's grip tightened on the phone, knuckles widening. He ended the call without a word, his world narrowing to a singular focus. His brother Daniel at St. Mary's, the emergency room buzzed with controlled chaos. Nurses and doctors moved with practiced urgency, tending to the influx of patients brought in by the storm. Amidst the flurry, a nurse with auburn hair and determined eyes stood out. Her name was Lily Thompson, and she was known for her unwavering composure under pressure. Lily had just finished stabilizing a patient when the paramedics wheeled in a young man. "Bloodied and unconscious. Car accident on Fifth Avenue," one of them reported. "Severe head trauma and internal bleeding." Without hesitation, Lily sprang into action, coordinating with the trauma team. She monitored his vitals, administered medications, and ensured that every protocol was followed meticulously. Hours passed in a blur, but finally, the young man was stabilized and moved to the ICU. Ethan arrived at the hospital, his presence commanding attention. Dressed in a tailored suit, he exuded authority and control. But beneath the polished exterior, Rory nodded at him. He approached the nurse's station, his gaze scanning for someone in charge. Lily looked up from her charting, meeting his intense gaze. "I'm looking for Daniel Blackwood," he said, his voice clipped. "He's in the ICU," Lily replied, maintaining her professional demeanor. "I'm Nurse Thompson. I was part of the team that treated him." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "I want to see him. Only immediate family are allowed," Lily stated firmly. "And even then, only during visiting hours." "I'm his brother," Ethan snapped. "And I don't care about your rules." Lily stood her ground. "Rules are in place for a reason, Mr. Blackwood. Your brother needs rest and minimal stimulation." Ethan's jaw clenched, but he recognized the steely resolve in her eyes. He nodded curtly. "Fine. Let me know when I can see him." The New Yorker won. Over the next few days, Ethan visited the hospital regularly, each time encountering Lily. Their interactions were marked by mutual disdain. Ethan saw her as an obstacle, while Lily viewed him as an entitled billionaire used to getting his way. But as Daniel's condition improved, Ethan began to notice the compassion in Lily's actions, the way she spoke gently to his brother, the care with which she adjusted his for the patience she showed in answering questions. One evening, as Lily was finishing her shift, she found Ethan waiting by the nurse's station. "Nurse Thompson," he began, his tone softer than before. "I wanted to thank you for what you've done for my brother." Lily raised an eyebrow. "Just doing my job, Mr. Blackwood." He hesitated. "Still, I appreciate it." She nodded, surprised by his sincerity. "You're welcome." As days turned into weeks, Ethan and Lily's interactions grew less combative. They shared brief conversations about Daniel's progress and occasionally about their own lives. Ethan revealed glimpses of vulnerability, and Lily saw beyond his hardened exterior. One afternoon, as they sat in the hospital cafeteria, Ethan looked at Lily thoughtfully. "You know, I misjudged you." She smiled. "Riley, you're not the first. I thought you were just another nurse following protocol, but you're more than that." Lily met his gaze. "And I thought you were just another arrogant billionaire. But you're more than that, too." Their eyes locked, a silent understanding passing between them. In that moment, the walls they had built began to crumble. The ICU was quiet. The evening Daniel opened his eyes. Lily had just finished checking his vitals when she saw his fingers twitch. Then his eyelids fluttered. Then finally, clarity. "Hey," she said softly, leaning over him. "Can you hear me?" Daniel blinked slowly, his lips parting. "Yeah," he croaked. Lily smiled, squeezing his hand. "You're safe. You've been through a lot, but you're going to be okay." Ethan walked in moments later, eyes wide when he saw his brother awake. "Daniel." Daniel's eyes found him. "You're here." "Yeah," Ethan said, his voice catching. "I'm here." It wasn't just relief. It was something raw. Something Ethan hadn't allowed himself to feel in years. Over the next week, Daniel improved steadily. Clara checked on him daily, even when she wasn't assigned to his case. She and Ethan continued to circle one another like two planets slowly being pulled into each other's orbit. It wasn't flirtation. Not at first. It was curiosity, then grudging respect. Then something else. One morning, Ethan showed up with coffee. "For you," he said, setting it down beside Lily's clipboard. She glanced at the cup. "Is this a bribe to sneak in more visiting time?" He smirked. "Only if it works." She shook her head, smiling despite herself. "Thanks." They sat in the break room in silence for a while. The storm outside mirrored the shift between them, charged, heavy, waiting to break. "I never told you what Daniel is to me," Ethan said suddenly. Lily looked up. "He's your brother. He's more than that. He raised me when our parents died. I was 14. He was 19. Gave up college. Took a job he hated. Spent 10 years pretending he wasn't drowning just so I wouldn't." Lily was quiet then. "That's why you never leave his side." Ethan nodded. "That's why I can't afford to lose him." Later that evening, Lily found herself thinking about him more than she wanted to admit. About his guarded eyes, about the pain he carried with too much grace. She didn't like men like Ethan, men with power and money and walls. But something about him was breaking through. And maybe she wanted to see what was on the other side. 1 week later, Daniel was moved to a step-down unit. Ethan returned to his office for the first time in days, but he couldn't focus. Everything reminded him of Lily. Her voice, her laugh, the way she challenged him without blinking. He picked up his phone, then put it down, then picked it up again. That night, Lily stepped out of the hospital to find Ethan waiting by the curb holding an umbrella. "You stalking me now?" she asked, amused. "I'd call it coincidence." She raised an eyebrow. "You don't believe in coincidence." "No," he admitted. "But I believe in timing." There was a pause. Then he added, "Dinner?" Lily hesitated. She could say no. She should say no. But instead, one dinner. They went to a small Italian place in Brooklyn. No press, no crowds, just the two of them, booth in the back, warm light, shared wine. "Do you ever stop being Mr. Blackwood?" Lily asked over risotto. He laughed. "Honest, deep. I'm trying. You're succeeding." They didn't kiss that night, but when he dropped her off, he touched her cheek and said, "I don't know what this is yet, but I don't want it to be temporary." Lily's voice was soft. "Neither do I." 3 days later, everything blew up. A photo surfaced. Lily and Ethan leaving the restaurant, smiling. Close. The caption was brutal. "Nurse seduces billionaire after saving his brother's life." Scandal at St. Mary's. By morning, hospital admin had called Lily in. "You're being suspended," her supervisor said. "Pending investigation." "For what?" Lily asked, stunned. Perceived conflict of interest. She felt like the air had been punched from her lungs. Her job, her career, her reputation, all unraveling because she fell for a man she didn't mean to. Ethan was livid. "I'll fix it," he said when she called him, her voice cracking. "I'll sue the hospital. I'll buy the damn building." "No," Lily said, voice tight. "Don't. You'll make it worse. I can't just watch them destroy you. You don't get to control this. Not this." There was silence on the line. Then Ethan said, "Then what do I do?" "Stand by me," Lily whispered. "Not in front of me." She hung up, trembling. Then she stared at the wall for a long time, unsure which part of her was more broken. Her job or her heart. The media storm didn't pass. It thundered. By the end of the week, Lily's name had been plastered across headlines in every major health blog, hospital forum, and tabloid that loved a scandal with a rich man and a working-class woman. Power imbalance, nurse, or opportunist. Did romance compromise patient care? They didn't use her name like a person. They used it like a punchline. Ethan offered to go on the record again. He tried press conferences. His lawyers threatened defamation suits. He even offered to resign from his company's board if it meant stopping the noise. Lily refused at all. "If I let you fight this for me, I become the story they wrote." She said, "I need to walk through this on my own." She spent the next 2 weeks in silence. No uniform, no shifts, no purpose, just headlines and questions and regrets sitting heavy in her chest. What hurt the most wasn't the hospital's betrayal. It was how much she missed him. Not Ethan the billionaire. Ethan, the man who waited in the rain, who showed up with coffee and carried his grief like a truth, not a secret. Daniel called her. "Don't disappear," he said. "You're the reason I'm alive. My brother might have fallen for you, but I believe in you." Lily blinked back tears. "You don't have to say that. I don't say things I don't mean." One night, Ethan showed up outside her apartment. No cameras, no press. Just him in jeans and a hoodie. Hair a mess, hands in his pockets. He looked human. "Talk to me," he said when she opened the door. She didn't slam it shut, but she didn't step aside either. "I'm tired, Ethan. So am I." She looked at him. "I didn't ask for any of this." He nodded. "I know. I loved being a nurse. I wasn't trying to be your story. You were never a story to me." She hesitated. "Then why does this feel like I lost everything?" He looked down, then back up. "You haven't lost me." The next morning, she posted a video. No makeup, no edits, just truth. "I've been a nurse for 6 years. I've held hands in final moments. I've done CPR on teenagers. I've worked holidays and doubles and through more grief than most people face in a lifetime. I don't regret falling for Ethan. But I hate that loving someone made me look unprofessional because I was never less of a nurse for having a heart." It went viral. Support flooded in former patients, fellow nurses, people who'd once been silenced for the same thing, loving the wrong person. The hospital issued a public statement. No apology. But they lifted the suspension. Still, Lily didn't return. Not yet. She had one more thing to do first. She asked Ethan to meet her at Daniel's new rehab clinic. When he arrived, she led him to the rooftop. It was empty, golden with sunset. She faced him. "I didn't fall for your money. I know. I fell for the way you talk about your brother. The way you try to fix everything, even when it hurts, the way you showed up without asking me to forgive you." Ethan took a breath and I fell for the woman who made me want to be softer. She stepped closer. "But if we're going to do this, I need you to let me be. I need to know I'll never be an accessory to your image or a footnote in your legacy." "You won't be." "Then say it." He looked her dead in the eyes. You are not my story, Lily. You're the author of your own. And I'm lucky you're writing me into it. She smiled, then kissed him like it wasn't the end of a battle, but the beginning of a life. 6 months passed. The headlines faded. The silence returned, and with it came something Lily hadn't felt in years. Freedom. Not because the world forgot, but because she stopped letting it define her. She didn't go back to St. Mary's. Instead, she took a position at a community health clinic in Harlem. Low pay, overworked staff, patients who mattered more than politics. She loved it. Ethan visited once wearing jeans and holding a box of donated medical supplies. You're overdressed, she joked. He grinned. And you're underappreciated, she rolled her eyes. Flattery won't get you out of sorting syringes. He rolled up his sleeves. Try me. Their relationship didn't become easier. It became real. They argued over little things. Big ones, too. Ethan didn't always understand her world. She didn't always fit into his. But they kept choosing each other. Not in grand gestures. In everyday ones. One rainy Sunday morning, Lily stood in the kitchen, hair messy. Hoodie 3 sizes too big, pouring cereal into a chipped bowl. Ethan watched her from the doorway like he was seeing her for the first time. You okay? She asked, catching him staring. He stepped closer. You look like forever. They moved in together. A modest apartment in Brooklyn, far from the Blackwood family estate. He didn't mind. Every tower I built feels empty compared to waking up next to you. Daniel recovered fully. He moved to Oregon, opened a bakery, texted Ethan pictures of burnt muffins and sunsets. You were always the one who needed saving, he wrote once. Glad someone finally did. Ethan never responded. Just sent a photo of Lily reading on the fire escape. Caption, she still does. The foundation Lily quietly launched in her name grew fast. Scholarships for underrepresented nursing students. Free mental health sessions for emergency staff. A hotline for whistleblowers in medical workplaces. She didn't use Ethan's money. Not at first. When she finally let him contribute, it came with rules. My name stays first always. He said they talked about marriage, not as an end point, as a process. They weren't interested in perfection. They were building something better. Intention. Then one night, Lily felt dizzy at work, faint, unsteady. She shrugged it off as dehydration until she saw the results of her blood work. She didn't tell Ethan right away, not because she was scared, because she wanted one night to sit with it herself. The next morning, she placed the test on the table. Positive. When he walked in, rubbing sleep from his eyes, she pointed at it. He blinked, then stared at her. You're sure? She nodded. He didn't speak. Just dropped to his knees and pressed his forehead against her stomach like it was already home. They didn't announce it. No posts, no public reveal. It was theirs. The pregnancy wasn't easy. Lily had complications. She spent the last month on bed rest,